Women for Biodiversity advocates for a right to a healthy environment for all. We believe that living in harmony with nature needs to take into account the roles and contributions of women and girls to achieve transformative change. This requires addressing gender equity and women's empowerment and recognizing women's institutions and their agencies as a way to achieve environment benefits and gender justice. Women for Biodiversity advocates and supports for diversity knowledge programs, including in its leadership, partnerships, and policy advocacy. We believe in addressing the environmental challenges requires narrowing the gender gaps in all levels of engagement, from the local to the global. There is a growing recognition of the role of women in forest restoration, but not much information is available on the contributions in restoring ecosystems such as wetlands, mountains, and coastal marine biodiversity. There are provisions and guidelines in many multilateral environmental agreements on mainstreaming gender, but the gap persists in the lack of awareness and access and the limitation of support initiatives for women doing conservation and restoration on the ground. The project, Building Resilience and Weaving Gender-Responsive Approaches to Biodiversity Governance, aims to strengthen gender-responsive ecosystem restoration approaches and integrate them into national goals and international commitments through research and documentation of women-led ecosystem restoration in pilot sites in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The project, initiated by Women for Biodiversity, follows a 3-year practice to policy roadmap. It is implemented with the funding support of CEDA through SwidBio at the Stockholm Resilience Center.
The technical training workshop that was organized in Chiang Mai in May had multiple objectives. The first objective, of course, being to bring all the restoration site partners to come together to share some of the learnings and challenges that they have undergone through their journeys. The second one is to collectively, between Women for Biodiversity and the restoration site partners, collectively strengthen certain processes of documentation, effective outreach, and also building advocacy at national levels and global levels to inform gender-responsive narratives within biodiversity laws and policies. The third objective is to focus specific processes within documentation that some of these partners have undergone, including the free, prior, informed consent, to be taken within the communities, the participatory community mapping that some of these partners have also done within the restoration initiative, some of the effective communication tools and tips that they could use for further outreach of the various inspiring documentation that is coming out of these processes, and of course to monitor and evaluate the impacts that are emerging from the restoration itself. The fourth objective is also to look at the sustainability of these processes beyond the project period, so thereby looking at the restoration process in its entirety and not as broken pieces, so looking at the various aspects of restoration and how to ensure that it sustains and communities who are carrying out the restoration initiative can continue to conserve, protect, and preserve some of the restoration processes that they've undertaken within this, and use these as examples to initiate further restoration in other areas within their territories. And the final objective is also to look at challenging and changing the narrative at various levels, including global, national, and regional levels, to inform the role of women within restoration initiatives through these documentation, and specifically and not just limited to the COP16 that's going to happen, and this being the UN Decade for Restoration, also inform some of these aspects of women-led restoration initiatives that could provide key insights to the role of women within the restoration and larger biodiversity conservation.
จะเรียกขวานขอโชว์เผ่าปักเกยอนะคะเพราะว่าขวานตัวนี้เนี่ยมัน
We will have the activities of sensibilization.
That it's important to sort of map out the steps you want to take with your restoration.
Tomaban cuenta en la de manejo general del golpe.
The second step everyone third step
constructed, right? Because none of you put cooking for man, right? So automatically it's a very stereotype. You know, it's always fresh. YouTube, yeah. If a child cries,
is someone I actually had the opportunity to meet for the